uh, the envelope came back, and that always strikes a little terror into one's heart, especially when the person you sent it to is old. But I had her email address, and she got back to me. She said, I'm not dead yet. She has the same mindset. And she said, I really miss West Marin, where I have lived for years and where she moved away from. And I found myself saying, would you like to come and visit? Not only that, would you like to stay overnight? Now, you should know that
Mhm.
even though I work with the public and I show myself, extrovertedly telling stories, at heart I'm an introvert. And when I get ready to come home, I just pull up the drawbridge and nobody gets into my apartment except members of my family. And what was I doing? But she said yes. And she came. And it was a little late. I was a little anxious, but there she was at 3 o'clock. And I luckily recognized her because it'd been years since I had actually seen her. Small, solid old lady with wrinkles. Oh, felt very much at home. And I said, okay, here's your West Marin. What do you want to do with it? And she said, I'm not exactly a birder, but I want to see some birds. And I happen to live across from a lagoon. I said, let's go. And we took out our matching REA old lady hiking poles and we walked the equivalent of 5 blocks because I'm a city girl still, ducked into a farm where the dogs did bark, but that's what they do, where the pigs snorted, where we picked our way on this lumpy, bumpy, ferny path where a creek gurgled down its way to the lagoon. And then we broke out of the trees, and there was the meadow, and there was the lagoon, and there were the birds, so many white birds wheeling around and waiting for fish. And we started to talk and talked and talked. And then, after an hour and a half, it was time to pick our way back. And then it was time for dinner. And she said, I got my credit card. I want to take you out. And I said, I really don't like restaurants and I'm fine cooking. So that was the only break we actually took. She lay down in the guest room and I cooked the meal and then we ate it. I discovered how different we were at this juncture because I ate the whole plate up fast and she ate half of it very slowly. And we continued to talk. And I looked at the clock. I said, we have been talking from 3 p.m. to 10:47. I think it's time for bed. She said, I'm a little worried because I'm an old lady, and I have to pee in the night. I said, I'll have to pass by your bed. I said, look, I'll either be awake, no problem, or asleep, no problem. And it was no problem. Not only that, she had this inner knowledge of knowing when to appear in the morning because I have, even though I get up very early, so many rituals to deal with the carcass as write in my journal, read the paper, do my back exercises. Oh. But she came out at just the right time. I made her breakfast. She ate half of it. I made her take the other half home. I said, what now? She said, the beach. And she was wise enough, octogenarian wisdom, to drive down to the beach, even though it isn't very far, so we could walk upon the sand. It was a low tide beach, a miracle. You never know it's going to be like that. We walked back. We sat in a park. I looked at pictures of her children on a tablet. And then at 10 o'clock, she left. Now, why did it work so well? This is why. She said, Nishama, I'm also a storyteller, not like you, but what it meant is she sees the world like stories. Therefore, for all that time we talked, we were braiding our stories together. How did you meet your John? How did you meet your John? We are both widowed. How did your John die? How did your John die? How are the children, how are the children, the grandchildren? We covered the territory. Now, I had managed to forget that she's a therapist, still taking clients after all these years, and she has the voice that you want coming out of a therapist, and she has the ear connected with the heart that you want to deliver your deep words to. And I also forgot that she is a practicing Buddhist and a gardener, and she brought all these things to me in my apartment. I was worried that we wouldn't find enough to talk about. Guess what? The flow of it might never stop, even though I think we covered those deep life stories. So I was kicked out of my comfort zone by God knows what. I was given sacred time with this woman I had lost contact with for years. I don't know what will happen now. I don't need a new best friend. She's off with her precious Tibetan Buddhists in the North Woods at a silent retreat. She'll come back, we'll see what happens. But again, from discomfort zone to sacred time, and what else can you ask for? Thank you.